So yeah, I mean, like the one thing that Toyota Canada said to us was take care of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Well, I was just showing off the features because I figured they want exposure on that.
Right. Like what?
Well, it's got A-track.
Yeah.
And a locking rear diff.
Mm-hmm.
And
what feature is this?
This is upside down mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. James, everything has upside down mode. You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is an exciting day because we actually bought this.
But not this one, because it's expensive.
Right, this is an exciting day. The 4Runner in its newest form is old, because unlike Paul Rudd, it does age, and yet there's still nothing quite like it that you can buy new today. And because it hasn't changed much in, well, decades, we took our own advice and bought one from a while back, 2007 to be exact, a generation of 4Runner that doesn't get much love because of its face.
But not so sad, considering we practically stole this one away from the previous owner at this price. Yeah, it's got some mileage, it's lived a life. So what? Just like student loans, it's managing to stick around. But in this case, it's actually a good thing, because today it has some heavy competition. Over in the expensive corner, weighing in at 10 times the price, the 2020 TRD Pro, adorned in Toyota's new Army Green. And we're going to put both of these proper SUVs to the test, first on the road and then off-road. And then we're going to figure out if we made the right choice. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe and hit the bell.
Now the big difference here, and the reason that you would get a 4th gen 4Runner is because you can get a V8. This is the 2UZ FE. It's been said to be the most reliable Toyota engine ever made. It has an iron block and everything is bulletproof. And since it's the most reliable Toyota engine, that means it's probably one of the most reliable engines ever made. So the fact that it has just under 250,000 kilometers on the clock means nothing.
Okay, the new one. 6 cylinders, 270 horsepower, which isn't much, but it honestly feels really good. And because it's 2020, we get the new catback TRD exhaust, so it sounds better. It actually sounds not dissimilar to a V8 until you get in a V8, and then it sounds like a V6.
And the other big difference is that this car has a drivetrain that's a little bit different. It's not a part-time 4-wheel drive system. This has a center torsion diff, like Audi's Quattro, that I can mechanically lock if I want. But that means the car is all-time 4-wheel drive. Great for the winter. And fuel economy isn't even actually that bad. We can't test them perfectly because we haven't driven both of these trucks in exactly the same scenarios, but so far our fuel economy seems pretty matched. Right now I'm averaging 14.7 liters per 100 kilometers, but I've been hauling on it a little bit, so it gets down to 11 or 12 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway.
Now this is on the Fox shocks again, like last year's. They haven't changed that. There's not much that they've changed. They had a recipe that worked in some cases not so much, and we'll talk about that in the interior in a minute. When you take it into turns, there's quite a high center of gravity to this car. There's quite a lot of roll as well. But not so much that you lose confidence, you just got to take it a bit easier. This is not a rally car. But the Fox shocks definitely work. In fact, the ride of this car is really smooth, and it's quite insulated as well from the outside. Something that a 4Runner does very, very well over maybe say a Wrangler. It is an incredibly easy to live with car that also has amazing off-road capabilities.
This is 5,700 pounds, and it can tow 7,000 pounds. The other one can only tow 5,000.
Yeah, she's a heavy girl, and honestly it drives like that. This feels very truck-like. But that gives you a confidence on the road, a majesticness to the car. Yeah, no, it can't tow more than its own weight.
So how is it to drive? Well, the V8 pulls really nicely. It has that nice low-end torque. So going up hills, you don't feel like you have to use a lot of throttle. It has hydraulic steering, so it's easy to point, and this has this suspension called X-Reas. I think I'm saying that right, X-R-E-A-S. Basically, the dampers are hydraulically linked to one another. So when you pitch the car into a corner, it adds a little bit of pressure to the opposite damper, so the car stays really flat in the corners. It also has air suspension. This is the limited trim. It's got everything. It has a height control. I can manually put the rear up and down if I want, but it will automatically level the load depending on if you're towing something or if you have a lot of weight in the back. It doesn't feel too much like a truck. It feels like a proper body-on-frame SUV, and I'm thinking it's going to be very capable off-road.
Often when we do our new versus old comparisons, we found that the new versions have modernized in such a way that you lose connection with the car. Steering, for example. Not with this one, this is hydraulic. This has also kept the main ingredient of a 4Runner, which is a body-on-frame SUV that's four-wheel drive, except this one is more of a conventional four-wheel drive system. So it's rear-wheel drive unless you want it to be four-wheel drive, in which case you can go to 4 high or 4 low, things that we're probably going to use when we go off-roading in just a minute. It's even kept the not so great fuel economy. This is a 6-cylinder, and I'm doing 14.6 litres per 100 kilometers, which I think is about the same as what Thomas is getting. I'm going to credit that to the increased weight of this car, because it's 600 pounds more.
Now, usually we go talk about the styling before we switch drivers. We're doing things differently today because we're going off-roading. So I'm just going to go get in the new one. Ooh, it sounds better. It's louder. You can feel the difference in that low-end torque right away. I'm going to say it, there's no replacement for displacement. The V8 just has that. The rides feel very similar. I feel like the V8 4Runner is a little bit stiffer in the corners, but maybe it has a slightly stiffer ride overall. Either way, the big takeaway here from just an on-the-road driving perspective is that this is no less a 4Runner than that.
All right, very quickly then, the old one. That's that wash of a V8. Gets up to speed pretty quick. Yep, it's a 4Runner. Great power delivery, great visibility. There's a reason these have had more than 30 years of love. But oftentimes where the biggest changes happen is the styling inside and out, and especially the tech. So we're gonna go talk about that, and then we're gonna take it off-road.
Oh, good. Oh!
It's only an enemy if you make it your enemy.
Okay.
But you're right there?
I'm great. I'm manly, off-roading, 4Runners.
Well, I can confirm this drives like a 4Runner.
It does. It has a V8, which is very, very nice.
It does, and it has a badge of the V8 as well, which you could stick on that if you wanted to. And you might as well, because they've already done a fake hood vent and fake, you know.
It's so unacceptable.
Just lying.
It's so unacceptable. Okay, let's just talk about the overall styling, because they're very, very different from generation to generation, right? Like
well, it still looks like a 4Runner. However, this has kind of like a suburban-y look. Like not Chevy Suburban, like Suburbanite. They've made this look more off-road, and new for 2020 is this army green.
I like this color a lot.
It's really, really nice, and we'll have to forgive the hood scoop for a moment. I actually think from a styling perspective, I wish it was real, because it looks really aggressive.
Well, this whole thing looks absolutely fantastic.
We have this new sensor here, because they come standard with the all the safety and suite of technology and stuff.
That's right, yeah.
This is the TRD Pro, so we have the TRD skid plate underneath, which looks badass. We have the basket on the top, and we have the running boards. You can also option what's called Predator steps.
What are Predator steps?
I don't know. They had to buy the trademark from Bill Cosby's autobiography. But
oh my God. Anyway, these TRD wheels look sick, but not as sick as our wheels that we bought for this, right?
Yeah, well, we did the Instagram poll, right?
Yep.
You guys decided which wheels we should get. And then we didn't get them.
We didn't get them.
Because they didn't have them.
They didn't have them.
So we got the second choice, which is actually my first choice.
But yeah, Burning Rubber Tire and Speed actually hooked us up with these wheels, and then Goodyear hooked us up with the Winter Command tires, which are actually... You look so tiny in between these two cars, actually.
Do I?
Yeah.
All right. I will not use this as a Tinder profile picture.
Okay.
Because I tell them I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's go look at the back, actually. Because they are very much the same in many ways. For example, they both have these deck lid spoilers. They both have the rear window that comes down, which is amazing. They both have the classic 4Runner tall rear end.
Yeah.
But in one very important way, this one is better. For 1/10 of the price.
What?
Soft close.
It soft closes.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yep. Let's look at the interiors. Let's start with the new one.
All right. It's very
pretty cool.
spacious, right?
Yeah, it is.
And we have TRD
On the
badging,
seats,
yeah.
yep. With TRD right down here as well. That's
Otherwise,
pretty
it's
nice.
very simple. Our original issues we had with this car are still rampant. So everything is made of a different material or it looks different.
Oh, that's right.
We
Yeah.
got piano black, all the different textures.
Everything is different. It's super weird.
Not everything is different though, because for 2020 we have some very exciting stuff.
Okay.
For example, they've redone the gauge cluster a little bit, and we get this small LCD screen, which
Okay,
is fun.
wow.
Yeah,
Yep,
got
that's
some colours going on.
Cutting edge.
And then this head unit is new. Gone is the 6-inch-ish screen. Now it's an oversized, arguably, 8 inches.
Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Okay, so yes, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android
Good,
Auto for the
okay.
first time.
Yeah, great.
It is god-awful. You
Really?
know, we gave them so much credit for not having it last year because we said that Toyota, unlike other manufacturers, spends an inordinate amount of money on quality control rather than throwing it at tech.
Yes, yes.
With the assumption that when they finally brought it, it would be amazing. And this has been terrible. And I put myself on my reputation on the line when I said that a year ago. So you made a liar out of me! I took a video of what this
James
was doing.
doesn't get mad very often.
No one can hear me on the phone.
Yeah.
Apparently, I come through 3 times, so
Yes.
it's like, hello, 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 hello.
Yep, I
Yeah,
got that. I got that.
That was 4 times.
I thought that was just your phone.
I can't count.
Yeah.
Have a look at this video. This is what it looked like when I was driving here today, right? And over the space of 25 minutes, it gave me back my pixels. It's terrible. And of
you had to
course,
earn them back.
of course, I don't want to dwell on it too much because of course it could be limited to just the car in, but that still speaks to quality control. So
That's the thing. There
yeah.
you go.
Other than that, it's incredibly comfortable.
It's great.
The back seats are incredibly usable. They're not just jump seats;
They're
are
very
full
big.
seats.
Very big. Yes.
And you know, I really can't complain about this in here. It's just a bit dated.
Oh, push button start. That's new, isn't it?
Oh, the push button start. Yeah, we've got the keyless entry as well.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's go look at the old one.
Okay. I've decided I want macaroni cheese and chicken pot pie, please, as my last meal.
Why?
Because I'm gonna get killed by every single 4Runner owner ever. All right, I like that interior. I just had a few gripes. I'm gonna sit here silently now.
Okay, I'll talk. This is kind of dated, but
Kind of.
okay, it's really, really dated.
I was gonna be silent.
Okay, it's honestly though, it's not bad. Everything that you need is here, other than this absolutely incomprehensible climate control system, which makes precisely 0 sense, and I still haven't figured out how it works. I think these buttons make it go up and down, but this is low, max, and high, max, but it doesn't say that. Super confusing. Also, I don't have the cool gear selector high and low switch. I have this thing
And
here.
you haven't got the cool ones up here either.
No, I don't, no.
But you also have a sunroof like the new one.
Yeah, it's not bad. So this otherwise is a completely acceptable interior for the price. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. These seats are leather. This is the limited trim, right? So it came with all the fancy stuff.
This
right?
seating position feels higher though.
It is higher,
Right.
yeah, and it makes it so that like you, being a
yeah.
completely average-sized human being,
The same size as you,
Just
right? Arguably.
just barely fit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Also, another thing in this, all these cars have these seats that are worn out and cracked. But the previous owner actually went on eBay and purchased another seat to replace it.
There we go. What a guy.
Yeah. Also, JBL synthesis sound system is actually not bad.
Nice.
I mean, for under $7,000.
That's mad, isn't it?
Come on,
yeah,
right?
it's mad.
It's so good.
Driving this as well, it just feels so competent. It's about to hit 250,000 kilometers.
Can you tell?
Nope.
There you go. It's time to go off-road, though.
If the video ends here, it's because something went wrong in the next section.
We headed to one of the few trails in Ontario which is open in the winter with a few friends that could operate as a backup crew. We told Toyota Canada that the car would come back to them in brand new condition, so we used every feature the trucks could offer to get us through without any issues. But most importantly, we were dying to see how the budget 4Runner could stack up to the brand new TRD Pro.
Okay, now it's pretty icy out there. Even so, we're going to be in 4 low because we're not going fast. I've locked the rear differential, which Thomas can't do. 4 low has insane amounts of torque accessible, but it's not very high speed. So it's really good. It doesn't surge the way 4 high might over a rock. and stuff like that, but it allows me to control the speed down low and be confident with it.
It's really icy. We lowered the pressures in the tires. We've got some snow tires on, so hopefully that helps a little bit, but we're gonna go right to 4 low. All right, my diff is locked. That's the center diff, right? So I don't have a rear diff lock, I don't have a front diff lock, but I've locked the front and the rear wheels together.
I do have the option of multi-terrain modes, and it looks like I can choose, there's one with a cactus. No, I don't see any cactus, there's cacti. But there's mud and sand. I think that's mud. Well, there's mud and sand, and then there's rocks and moguls and stuff. But I think mud and sand, Spartacus mud and sand is the right one for this.
Before the trail got too tough, we needed to learn our way around the 4Runners and how they handled the different terrain.
Now, I will say, the incredible thing about these Fox shocks is that I'm not being, we're going through puddles and dips and holes. I'm not being thrown around the way I thought I was going to be.
Okay. We got a weird combination of ice and snow and mud. I'll tell you what, I always forget this, but driving off-road, the fact that I'm in a vehicle and you have the feeling that you can go anywhere, there's pretty much nothing more freeing in the automotive world. It is the coolest stuff ever.
I let off the brake. You hear the clicking and the clanking? That's cruise control working.
I do have hill descent control, which doesn't appear to be working. Hill descent control is broken. I do have a button called RSCA off. That turns off the rear side curtain airbags, just in case.
Oh, it's deep. And we're out. That would have been a cold bath.
All right, start slow, make sure everything's good, and then power through. That was so fun.
Now we're going up a hill.
All right, what I'm doing right now is waiting for James to get up the hill, because if he doesn't make it all the way up the hill and starts to slide back, I don't want to be anywhere near the hill.
I want to say Ontario looks beautiful, but it just looks brown and grey and cold. And why don't we live somewhere nicer than this? Because you got off-roading in California, and it's nicer there, and you got big trees, and then maybe I can use the cactus button.
All right, I'm a little bit out of my depth here, I suppose. I'm more of a precision driving track guy, right? Off-roading is not really why I got into cars. I mean, like, for the record, I got cut from the football team in high school. My sport was badminton. Although, to be fair, James's sport was RuneScape.
Yeah, this 4Runner is tackling this like it's nothing. You could be a complete idiot off-roader, and it's just looking after me.
Find the traction where we can, use the little rocks. Avoid the root. Trees. Off-roading is so fun, it just is.
Right, when some obstacles are sticking out, you don't want to go around them because then you could scratch the whole paint. So you're actually best with the clearance to go over them.
All right, I'm using a little bit of snow on the side here to try and find some traction because the center is ice.
Wow, 4 low is magical. I thought it was just a Kama Sutra position. This is awesome.
The trails started to get a little bit more technical, but it was nothing the 4Runners, new and old, couldn't handle.
Oh, look at that. I got no problems. God, these things are good. So far, I'm quite impressed by these tires, these Goodyears, actually. I had no real scary moments on even the ice and stuff.
I do love how optimistic this 4Runner is. Like, because I'm in 4 low and I'm not going very fast, it's telling me I'm in eco mode. 6,300 pounds up a hill in eco mode. Yeah, okay. There's a reason I'm doing 3 miles to the gallon right now.
There's something about being on a heated leather seat with exactly correct climate control while just trundling through a forest. It's like the ultimate expression of I win, nature. How's everything going up there, James? Talk to me.
Everything is good, yeah. I don't know if you can see me. I'm very camouflaged right now. I'm actually worried though, because in the case of my death or a collapse, you'll never find me again. This army green is powerful.
Wait, you're in front of me?
I have to be honest, that old 4Runner looks pretty good in the rearview mirror. It looks like I'm looking into the past.
A little bit of water. It's always a mystery when it's covered in ice. How deep is it? James is exploring that now.
Now this is heavy, and I'm breaking the ice. Like the polar bear at the beginning of that awful joke. Awesome. Awesome. Good job, 4Runner.
Okay, well, it's not deep.
Eventually, we came to a little bit of an impasse. Our lead Jeep actually got stuck and was battered by the ice chunks pretty badly, so we decided to send the old 4Runner through first, and we thought it best to try and clear some ice. The whole event was brilliantly narrated by James.
Thomas, in the attempt to prove how Canadian he is and manly and all this sort of stuff, is now about to dig some of these giant blocks of ice, literally tectonic plate size, out of the way so that we can get through the way, to find the way that Jesus has laid out for us. See, watch how the Canadian pretends to know what he's doing, to act like he's been born in the wilderness, but in fact knows nothing of what he does. As he falls into the water. It's an amazing sight to see, and we're lucky to have caught it.
My foot is so cold. I just went like knee high in ice water. Okay. All right, see if we can get through here. Not a clue if this is going to happen or not.
Okay, this is the old 4Runner on its last days.
Oh, that was a big chunk of ice. Oh, come on,
Wow,
come on,
wee.
come on. Yes. Woo!
Dude, Thomas is a hero.
Woo! I didn't need any more hair on my chest, but here we are.
All right, this is where the locking diff in the back should help me through this water. So get in. Oh. 4Runner, you are a god among men. Wow. I just lost my virginity again. It was as bad as the first time.
Eventually, we swapped drivers and had a go in the other 4Runner. Conclusion? They are both massively capable, comfortable off-roaders. This wasn't a super technical trail, but honestly, it was easy for these trucks. Both of them. Which brings up the issue. Do you need to buy a new 4Runner when a sub $10,000 V8 version does all the same tricks? Well, the reality is the new TRD Pro comes standard with some serious off-road goodies, amazing styling, and all the classic 4Runner accoutrement you would ever need, and then some.
You know how like sometimes, someone in your life makes mountains out of molehills? Well, this thing, I'm gonna say it, this thing makes molehills out of mountains.
And if Toyota can make sure that their in-car tech can work perfectly moving forward, then it is still one of the most complete, reliable off-road hauling vehicles you can buy today. So while the previous Gen 4Runner is still a fantastic used purchase and we feel like we won at the used car buying game, if you're looking for something new that still has true off-road fundamentals, then a new 4Runner might just be the way to go.
I did a fart. Because I'm an off-roading man. It was a man fart. It's actually quite pithy. It's quite small. Embarrassing fart.